my husband's father started making advances towards me after our wedding. Hello, Redditors. I am writing this from an anonymous account because I'm afraid someone from the family might see it, but I can't keep this inside anymore. I need advice because I am in complete despair and don't know what to do. I feel betrayed, scared, and guilty all at the same time. Please read to the end because it's a long story, but I'm trying to describe everything in detail so you understand my situation. I am 25F, my husband is 27M. We are from New York, USA, but due to financial problems after the wedding, we decided to move in with his parents. We got married 6 months ago. It was such a beautiful wedding. Everything was perfect. We dated for 2 years before that, and I always thought his family was a dream. His mom, 55F, is such a kind woman, always cooks delicious meals, helps with everything, and we get along well. And the father-in-law, 58M, well, at first he seemed like a typical dad. Works in construction, loves watching football, jokes around, but nothing bad. He was always nice to me, called me daughter, and said he was happy I was in the family. We even watched movies or played board games together when I visited before the wedding. But after the wedding, everything changed. We moved in with them because our apartment was too expensive, and we both just started our careers. I work in marketing, my husband in it. His parents have a big house in the suburbs, with a separate room for us on the second floor. At first, everything was okay. We paid for utilities, helped around the house, had dinner together. But after a week or two, my father-in-law started acting strangely. At first, it was little things that I dismissed as dad jokes, but now I realize it was the beginning. For example, one morning I came down to the kitchen in my pajamas, nothing revealing, just shorts and a t-shirt because it was hot, and he looked at me for so long that I felt uncomfortable. Then he said, "Wow, my name, you look so sexy in the morning. My son is lucky to have you." I laughed nervously and said, "Thank you, but that's a bit awkward." He replied, "Oh, don't be so shy, we're family now." I told my husband about it in the evening, but he said, "He's just giving you a compliment, don't worry, Dad is always like that." Then it got worse. A few days later, when my husband was at work, he works shifts, sometimes in the evening, and his mom went to a friend's place, my father-in-law approached me in the living room. I was sitting on the couch watching a series. He sat down next to me too close and put his hand on my knee. He said, "You are such a beautiful girl name. I always dreamed of a daughter-in-law like you. But you know, sometimes I think, why aren't you with me?" I moved away and asked, "What do you mean?" He smiled and said, "Just joking, but you turn me on." I stood up and went to our room, locked the door. My heart was pounding, I was crying. When my husband returned, I told him, but he said, "Maybe you misunderstood. Dad isn't like that." And it didn't stop. Over the last month, there have been several incidents. One time he accidentally walked into the bathroom while I was showering, the door was closed, but not locked, our bathroom is old, the lock doesn't work well. He said, "Oops, sorry, thought no one was here." But he stood there for 3 seconds looking. I shouted at him to get out. Another time, when we were in the backyard, he hugged me from behind, supposedly helping with the grill, and pressed against me. I pushed him away and said, "Don't do that," he laughed. "Relax, it's a game." I feel trapped. The house is big, but I can't avoid him. My husband works a lot, his mom often goes out, and I'm left alone with him. I'm afraid this will escalate into something worse. Maybe he'll try something by force. I can't sleep at night, I'm constantly on edge. Why is he doing this? Before the wedding, everything was fine. Maybe because we live together, he thinks he has access. Or is it because of alcohol, he drinks beer every evening? I love my husband, but he doesn't fully believe me, he says. "Dad is old, don't think badly of him." I feel guilty because I don't want to ruin the family, but it's unbearable. What should I do? Tell his mom? Make my husband believe me? Move out, but where we don't have money for a separate apartment? Is this sexual harassment and should I go to the police? Please advise because I'm on the edge. Thank you for reading. Update 1. Hello to everyone who responded to my original post. Thank you for your advice. Many suggested talking to my husband seriously, and I did. It was last night after another incident. My father-in-law joked again, this time in the kitchen when I was washing dishes. He came up from behind and said, "You are so tempting when you do housework. Maybe I can help you with something else." I turned away and left, but that was the last straw. I couldn't take it anymore, and in the evening, when we went to bed, I laid it all out for him, in detail, with examples, and said that if he didn't believe me, I couldn't live like this anymore. At first, he was in shock, denied it, said, Dad couldn't have said that, maybe you're exaggerating. But I cried and showed him the notes in my phone where I had been writing down the dates and what exactly happened, as suggested in the comments. He was silent for a long time, then hugged me and apologized for not believing me right away. He said he would talk to his father himself because he didn't want me to have to face him. This morning they talked alone in the garage. I heard voices, but not the words. My husband came back upset, said that his father denied everything, said it was jokes, and that I was too sensitive. But my husband told him to stay away from me and not make any comments. Now the atmosphere in the house is tense. My father-in-law looks at me sideways. His mom asks if everything is okay, but I haven't told her yet. We decided to look for an apartment, even if we have to borrow money from friends. I feel relieved that my husband is on my side, but I'm still scared to be at home. Should I tell his mom? Thank you for your support. Update 2. Hello everyone again. A few days have passed since the last update, and the situation has changed a bit, but not for the better. After my husband's talk with his father, he started avoiding me, doesn't talk, doesn't look at me, but now he's doing passive-aggressive things. For example, yesterday evening during dinner he said to his mom loudly, "Some people are too fussy, they don't understand jokes." I kept quiet, but my husband stood up and said, "Enough, Dad." His mom noticed the tension and asked what was going on. My husband and I decided to tell her, not everything in detail, but that his father was behaving inappropriately with me and it was making life unbearable. She was shocked, started crying, said she didn't believe it because he was always a good husband. But then she talked to him herself. They closed themselves in a room for an hour. We could hear shouting. After that, his mom came to me, apologized, and said she believes me because she remembered how he sometimes flirted with her friends in the past, but thought it was in the past. She suggested we move to her sister's place temporarily. She lives in a neighboring town until we find an apartment. My father-in-law is now sleeping on the couch in the living room, and his mom told him not to come near me. I feel a bit safer, but sad because the family is falling apart because of this. We are already looking at apartment listings, and my husband is looking for a side job to move out faster. Thank you all for the advice. Your words helped me gather courage. If there's anything new, I'll write update 3. Update 3. Hello, Redditors. I'm writing this update with trembling hands because what happened today is my worst nightmare that almost became reality. Thank you to everyone who wrote in the comments and advised me to be careful, to install locks, or even carry pepper spray. I regret not listening immediately. Only 2 days have passed since the last update, and I thought the situation had stabilized a bit. My father-in-law was avoiding me. As promised after the talk with my husband and his mom, he was sleeping on the couch downstairs, and my husband and I were actively looking for an apartment. We had already found a couple of options in a neighboring district where rent is cheaper, and my husband arranged for a freelance side job to cover the expenses. His mom was on my side, cooked for us separately, and even suggested we go to her sister's for the weekend so I could relax. The atmosphere was tense, but I felt a little safer. At least, there were no more of those jokes or strange looks. But today, everything went to hell. My husband left for work early in the morning. His shift started at 8. His mom went to the grocery store. She said she'd be back in an hour. I stayed home alone because I work remotely and had a Zoom call with colleagues at 10. I was sitting in our room upstairs, at the computer, in normal clothes, jeans, and a sweater, nothing provocative. Suddenly, I heard footsteps on the stairs. I thought maybe his mom came back early, but the door opened, and it was my father-in-law. He looked different. His eyes were red, like he hadn't slept, and he smelled of beer, even though it was only morning. He closed the door behind him and said, "We need to talk, my name. You are destroying my family with your fabrications." I stood up trying to stay calm and said, "Please get out, we've already discussed everything." But he didn't listen. He came closer, grabbed my arm and pinned me against the wall. "You are so beautiful," he whispered. "I can't stop thinking about you. My son doesn't deserve you. Come on, just once and everything will be like before." I tried to break free. I screamed, "No, let me go." But he was stronger, a construction worker after all. He tried to kiss my neck. His hands slid under my sweater, touching my skin. I felt nauseous, panicked. My heart was pounding as if it was about to jump out. I pushed him with my knee, trying to break free, but he only pressed harder, whispering, "Don't struggle, you want this, I can see it in your eyes." It lasted seconds, but felt like an eternity. I thought it was the end, that he wouldn't stop. And then the door swung open violently. It was my husband. He had come home unexpectedly early. It turned out his meeting was canceled, and he decided to come back to check on me. He saw the scene and instantly reacted. He rushed forward, pushed his father away from me with such force that he fell on the floor. "What are you doing, Dad?" he shouted. "Have you lost your mind?" My father-in-law got up, muttering, "She started it, I just wanted to talk." But my husband didn't listen. He led me out of the room, locked the door, and called his mom to come back immediately. I sat on the stairs, crying, shaking. I couldn't believe it had happened. When his mom arrived, we told her everything in detail, with my tears and my husband's anger. She was horrified, screamed at my father-in-law, said it was the end, and that he had to leave the house. My father-in-law denied it, said he had too much beer and didn't mean any harm, but no one believed him. My husband packed our things. We went to a hotel for the night because I couldn't stay in that house. We are in a room now. My husband is hugging me, apologizing for everything, saying he regrets not believing me right away and not protecting me earlier. I am in shock. I feel broken, but I'm glad he was there in time otherwise. I don't even want to think. We are planning to move to his mom's sister's place tomorrow, and my husband says he will never let his father near us again. Should I go to a therapist? How do I get over this trauma? Thank you for your support. Your words helped me not to stay silent. Update 4. Hello everyone. This is an update 1 week after that terrible incident. Thank you for all the messages and advice in the comments. Many suggested contacting professionals, and we are doing that. First, about how everything developed immediately after. After my husband pushed his father away and we fled to the hotel, his mom called us in the evening. She said she had kicked my father-in-law out of the house. He packed his things and went to his brother in another city. She was crying on the phone, said she couldn't believe her husband was capable of such a thing, but after our story and seeing the bruises on my arms from his grip, she understood it wasn't jokes. She was even thinking about divorce after 30 years of marriage, because she can't live with a monster. My husband and I spent the night in the hotel. I didn't sleep. I kept waking up from nightmares where it all repeated. The next day we went to his mom's sister. She lives in a small town 50 miles away, has a guest room, and welcomed us with open arms. It's quiet, peaceful, and I finally felt safe. My husband took a week off to be with me. We talked a lot, cried together. He apologized again and again, said he felt guilty for not protecting me earlier, and that he now understands how serious it was. We went to a family therapist, found one online, through recommendations from Reddit. Thank you to those who shared links to resources for victims of harassment. The session was difficult. I told everything in detail, how my father-in-law harassed me, how I felt powerless, and the therapist said it was classic sexual harassment and that my feelings were normal. My husband also talked about his shock and anger towards his father. The therapist advised us not to contact my father-in-law at all, to block his numbers, not to respond to messages. He tried to text my husband, apologizing and saying, "I was drunk, forgive me." We did just that. His mom visited us twice, brought the things we left behind, and said she had filed for divorce. She looks older, but strong, says it's better to be alone than with someone like that. She even offered to help financially with a new apartment. Regarding the move, we found a small apartment in Brooklyn, not perfect, but affordable. We signed the contract yesterday. We're moving in 2 days. My husband has returned to work, but now he calls me every 2 hours to check if everything is okay. I've also returned to my job, but I took a few days for remote work with a lighter load. Physically, I'm okay, the bruises are gone, but mentally, I'm still afraid to be alone. I hear footsteps at night, and sometimes I have flashbacks. The therapist suggested journaling, writing a diary to let out the emotions, and I'm trying it. I also joined an online support group for women who have experienced similar things. Again, thank you Redditors for the links. The family has fallen apart, but I feel that my marriage with my husband has become stronger. He is my protector now, and we are planning our future together, without toxic relatives. My father-in-law, as far as I know, is living with his brother, drinks even more, but we don't care, that's his problem. If there is anything new, I will write update 5, but I hope this is the end of the drama. Thank you all for being with me. Your words saved me from silence. Be careful, girls, and don't ignore the red flags. What are your thoughts on this story? Did the author do the right thing? What would you have done in her shoes? Share your opinion in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new stories.